What's up, y'all? Downsouth7Seven here again, and this is 3-Star Draw. I'm sitting here with Trapper Jack, and we're going to talk about some of the classified figures of 2023.
Yeehaw!
We need like a Prospector Cornelius classified figure. I have this hat too. I'd have got mine out if I knew he was going to wear it.
I couldn't help myself.
So this is, of course, Pot Blender, and it's lifelong collectors of G.I. Joe stuff together. We decided that we would kind of do a dueling top 10 list for 2023 on classified figures. I've already made mine, and I have no idea what he's picked. So we've got it set up, and we're going to go over his picks, and we're gonna compare them to mine and kind of see how we differ and see what he likes. And your list's gonna be different than what ours is, but this will be funny. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is just our opinion. So if we get skewered over it, it really doesn't matter. Just for fun. I know some people take it very seriously.
Yeah.
I kind of had to do a quick draw.
Figure sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I had to do a quick draw on mine. I did have the list, and I was trying to figure out what came out this year, and I know that's been, for some people, what's allowed, what's not allowed, whatever. So I did have kind of a last-minute addition. But yeah, man, we'll kind of talk about them a little bit and maybe take a look at the 10 that I picked kind of quickly and check it out.
All right. Give us just a second, and we'll be right back. All right. Let's get ready and take a look at Pot Blender's list and see what he comes up with. Number 10.
All right, number 10. A classic. They didn't change a lot with this guy, but we got some really cool stuff with him. My number 10 is Torpedo.
That's a solid pick.
Yep. Not too high, really low. Yeah, I don't know. I like him. I like the design. I like them staying somewhat true to the original and then giving us a couple extra little things with him. We'll talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah.
When we look at the figures.
I did my video on Torpedo. That was my first Joe. And I was really, really glad when they announced Torpedo, and I was glad to get Torpedo. And he is an awesome figure. He didn't even make an honorable mention on my list, though. And I explain why. It's just, for me, that was the playability of Torpedo.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with the figure. He's a fantastic figure, but getting him out and, like, doing pictures, or if you're going to take him out and do stuff, there's only so much you can do with water dudes unless you're in the water.
Right.
So that's the only reason he didn't make my list, but he's a badass figure, so let's take a look at him.
Yeah. All right, Torpedo, my number 10. I understand why even he wouldn't get an honorable mention. There's so many figures. We got a ton of them this year, so I could see where he could fall down a lot of people's lists.
It's like 68, 66 figures just in 2023.
Right. And he's number 73 in the collection. Kind of put this up maybe and get him so we can get a better look at him. I don't know, man. I just love everything about this guy, man. He classic design. I love the gray and the black, kind of the matte finish.
It was a great update to the classic original Torpedo. I mean, they just took his gear, and basically just brought him into this age with his gear.
Yeah,
I mean, the figure paint apps and stuff. He's very similar.
I mean, I do like the fins. I know we saw a stream the other night, and they were talking about the flippers and how they have the red, and they would match the eel better, and you can flip flop them.
They really do.
You want to? Although he does have the red handle on the knife, and he's got the red paint app up here on on the shoulder with like his pouches on his on his straps.
Yeah, I mean, he looks fine. He doesn't look bad with the red fins. It's just the fact of the matter that he would have also looked good with black fins, and the eel would really look better with the red ones.
I mean, it does make sense.
Doesn't hurt the figure in any way.
Not at all. And I know there's not a ton to say about him. I mean, I do like his, you know, he comes with a machine gun for land, obviously, and then the
he is a
harpoon gun.
SEAL. You know,
so you know, harpoon gun, mask. I mean, you know, obviously they did his face really well too. They got the
Lay Aloha.
Yep, they got, you know, his ethnicity right and everything.
And I didn't realize at the time when I did my torpedo video that was a homage Larry Hama did to one of the guys on the Joe comic. I didn't realize that actually was somebody that did the Joe comic. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, there probably was a ton of guys like that.
Yeah.
Right? You know, you think about it, who was made after who or modeled after who. But but anyway, that's my number 10. Sweet and simple. I always liked him anyway, so Torpedo's number 10.
Well, when you started talking about him, I thought you stole my number 10 because my number 10 was Grunt.
Okay. So, same exact deal, right?
Yeah, just took an awesome early figure and updated him into modern age.
Yeah, no, he almost made mine too. I guess he would have been an honorable mention.
Yeah, Grunt's great.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we'll get ready for number 9. All right, here we are with Pop Blenders. Number 9.
Number 9. Number 9 for me. Another classic. Old school. Snow Job.
Good pick.
Easy outfit. Clean figure.
Good sculpt. A lot of accessories.
Lots of accessories. I don't think they could have done anything different with this guy. So
yeah, I mean, the only thing they could have done to make Snow Job any better was make him a deluxe figure that come with a bear.
Sure.
or make it a big set and put it with the battle bear, the snowmobile. That's all they really could have done, but
no, I don't think they could have improved on him very much. Let's take a look at him and maybe talk about a couple more things.
All right.
All right, Snow Job, my number 9. Again, not a lot of color, not a lot of paint apps. I just love the outfit. I think it's just a great update. Got a little gray on the Snow White.
Yeah, looks good. It blends together.
Yeah, man. Lots of accessories, obviously with the rifle, the handgun, the backpack with the place to store the poles. And you got the snowshoes and everything. But one thing we did find out, we had no idea.
Yeah, we're doing some research on the actual character.
Snow Job is a psycho serial killer. He killed his twin.
And with it being cold in his environment, it keeps the head pristine. So he doesn't even need any salt. It's just frozen.
It's brutal. He found out his twin brother was working for Cobra, and he did the only thing he knew what to do. Instead of turning him in, he just cut his head off.
Yeah, I mean, what else?
Makes sense.
What else are you gonna do? I mean, you got your snowmobile, man. You just turn your brother into a hood ornament there to let Cobra know. Oh, we have a lot of fun with this. This is the stuff we used to do when we were kids.
Yeah. I couldn't help it, though. It's like anybody that comes with 2 heads, but especially it comes with his own sack, his own carrying sack. It's like a bowling ball.
You can only carry it one way, though, I guess. So.
Yeah. Well, yes. Nonetheless, that's my number 9. What about you? Who did you have on your list?
My number 9 you could have also very well have been starting to describe my number 9 because my number 9 pick was Tripwire.
Okay.
With MacLeod and Apsara.
Right.
That was my number 9 pick. So
I do like that too.
Another deluxe figure. So I like how they're doing the classic characters as deluxes.
Yeah, I do too. And nothing too crazy, right? It's classic
not
still
yet.
to an extent. Yeah,
not yet. They're making a lot of money, so we're gonna get a Grand Slam with the jump pack thing.
Right.
So it's coming.
So, but yeah, that's number 9 is Snow Job.
All right. Well, let's set up and get ready for the next one. All right, we are back. Let's take a look at Pop Blenders. Number 8.
All right, number 8. Uh, just came out pretty recently. And the more I look at it, the more I like it. I was not crazy about it initially. You got him. I don't have him, but after giving him a good look over, it's Shadow Tracker.
Yeah,
It's number 8.
good pick. That's a solid pick.
Yeah, so Shadow Tracker is my number 8, and we'll take a look at him right now. All right, number 8, Shadow Tracker. Like I said, I do not have this guy yet. I did not jump on him. I realized he was probably going to be a popular figure when he like sold out. And,
Yeah.
you know, and you look at the other, what else was released, and it's like, oh, I can still get those, but I sure can't get him.
No, he was hot. Him and Wolf Spider.
Right.
They were hot. I think the hype just drove the Wolf Spider figure.
Yeah, I think it did too, and I did order him, and I think it's partially some of that. Partially, the other part was too is that I tend to shy away from the Joes that are more of the supernatural. I know with the crossover, I know what's going on, but I guess as I started to age out of the line, which we were pretty close,
Yeah.
but as I started to age out of the line, they really started to go even more, into that direction.
Oh yeah, definitely. Started getting into the space,
sci-fi and like magical or whatever it is, right? And so, even though this guy obviously is not from that time period, and Pursuit of Cobra line and everything, I don't have a connection to this dude.
Yeah,
Right?
me either.
Right, but after seeing him and looking at the figure, man, I just think he's badass.
Yeah, great
accessories are awesome. I love the compound bow, his masks, all the bone, the like on the gauntlet and stuff, on the shoulder.
Yeah, the pieces of the bones on the gauntlet,
the leopard print on the I don't know what the heck you call that thing. It's just a wrap or something,
I think that's his old lady's thing that she takes to the beach to cover the bottom of her bathing suit.
Yes, and now we know why he took it off.
Yeah. Going full Monty.
What do they call that? A sarong?
A sarong?
Sarat?
Sarongat? A sarong is a sandal.
Serengeti?
Maybe that's it.
I bless the rains.
Yeah, sure as they rise above the Serengeti. So.
Anyway, long hair, super cool. Looks like dreads, sculpted
nice. Looks great.
Yep, good sculpt. So for me, new figure. I don't have him yet. I really like him, so I will get him. Who is your number 8?
My number 8 is also maybe a surprising, maybe controversial pick for some. My number 8 is the Cobra Hiss Gunner.
Okay.
The female.
I was close.
That was my number 8.
I was close on a couple of those actually.
Yeah, they that one I really did like that figure. That's my favorite figure out of that set and out of the Fire Team set too. If you want to put them all together, she's my favorite figure out of all of those
accessories too. Yeah. Like they gave
that's
her,
what puts her over the top.
Right, like they hooked her up.
Yeah,
right.
So she was my number 8.
That's cool, man. That's a good pick too. I'm okay with that too. So anyway, that's number 8, Shadow Tracker.
All right, let's get ready for 7.
All
right. Well, now let's take a look at Pop Blender's number 7.
All right, number 7. Another guy that I was not really into at first, but the more that I've seen him, I did manage to get him thanks to a classified post because this guy was sold out for a long time. My number 7 is Range Viper.
Oh yeah, that's a good pick.
Yep.
All right.
So we're going to take a look at Range Viper. All right. Number 7, Range Viper. Now, when this guy first came out is another situation of I didn't have him back in the day. I was kind of aged out by then. And when they announced him, I didn't really know how to feel about it because I don't have a connection to this figure. I started to see some photographs right online. You see their artwork or their photography, right? It looks super cool, especially with some good lighting.
Yeah, man, you could take a picture of this dude floating in a toilet bowl and he'd be badass.
Yeah, right. I mean, seriously, just the colors pop. It's a good mix with the you've got like basically 2 shades of gray, right? Really, really kind of 3, although with the pants, it's kind of hard sometimes to know if that's a black or like a gray.
Yeah, it's almost like a dark charcoal.
Right. But the blue is what does it for me. I love the blue. It stands out. Accessory wise with the axe, the grenade launcher, the machine gun, and then his backpack and the bandolier, right? Or like, or just having, that all of that just looks good with the right amount of color.
Yeah.
And
perfect.
And even though it is a figure that I guess I don't have a lot of connection to, the more I looked at it, the more that I could appreciate this figure. And it is different. Definitely, first couple guys were true blue, right? On my list, and we have a couple really different guys. But I do like this figure, man, and I know you really liked it because you jumped on it ASAP.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did have the raw version of this figure,
right?
And I hated it. I got him because I was still mostly collecting the line. You were a couple years ahead of me, and we're pretty much already out of Joe's, but I was still picking a few up in 90, and I did get him, and I mostly got him because I really liked the grenade launcher. Yeah. And even back then, I was into horror stuff, and I'm like, well, this dude looks like, scary looking and whatever, and I got him, and it just didn't translate, and I just never liked him. He just didn't, I don't know, he didn't do what the artwork conveyed for me. I should have got his file card out. He's one of the figures that I've actually still got the full card back for. But so knowing that I had him and I didn't like him, and then when they announced him, I'm like, of all the Vipers they could make, Range Viper. And then I saw the pictures and the renders, and I was like, oh my God, that figure is amazing. So not to mention, he was the Walmart exclusive. So you knew he was going to be hard to get. Yep. He's still kind of hard to get. You can get him now, but you ain't ordering from Walmart. Yeah. The price on the secondary has come down a little bit.
That's how Walmart is, though, too, right? You're not going to get that price.
Yeah. So it's a good pick. He is definitely one of the best figures that comes out or has come out. Not just this year, but period for Cobra Troopers.
Yeah.
The guy's like I've described him as he's like a horror movie character come to life.
Oh yeah, totally.
He's coming after you.
Right.
This is Ghostface coming after you with a LMG.
And I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something else real quick that did it for me was when I saw the 788 Fire Team and he was on there and the different colors though. When I saw that one, then it made me want to go pick up this one even more so.
Yeah. And they look really good next to each other.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. So anyway, so that's my number 7, Range Viper. Kind of a surprise for me, actually. What about you?
My number 7, double check here. Yeah, my number 7 was Shadow Tracker.
Okay.
So I had him one place higher. So,
right in there.
Yeah.
It surprises me a little bit. I actually thought you might have had him higher on your list after talking to you a couple times
just too many
about him, but
too many good figures that I got a connection to.
Yeah, and I have a feeling as we get up the list here, our list might vary a bit as we get closer to the top. I'm just guessing it might not. So, but anyway, so that's number 7 for me, Pop Blender. That's the Range Viper.
All right, well, let's see what number 6 is. Pop Blender's number 6.
All right. Getting down the nitty gritty here.
I said that too in mine, but I said it a little further down. So.
I'm a nitty gritty number 6 kind of guy, right?
Well, everybody likes to go fishing in the dark.
You get to I'm a point of no return guy when I start getting to number 3 and number 2. All right. So number 6. I've liked this figure since I saw the first renders. I think he's awesome. I know there's some controversy with him, but Snow Serpent is my number 6.
Okay, well, at least it wasn't Falcon.
Oh, Lord.
You said controversy, so.
That would have, I probably would have been laughed off of the interwebs,
right?
If it was Falcon.
There's some jackass out there that put him at number 1 just because of the hell of it.
And I'd love to meet him.
So, you know somebody. That's not a bad figure from the neck down.
No, from the neck down. I've said that about girls, man, all the time,
right,
my whole life.
Falcon in his butterface.
Mrs. Butterface. Anyway, so yes, like I said, number 6, Snow Serpent. Let's take a look at him. All right, number 6 for me, Snow Serpent. It's kind of funny on my list, actually, thinking about it now, because there are some guys on here where they're not flashy, they're not crazy colors, with all the Python Patrol stuff, right, or Titanfall, or whatever it is. But there's something about this guy. I got Snow Job on my list, right? But that's not just the reason why I have him on the list. Ever since they announced him, I just like the look. I like what they did with him. I do like the fur. I like, the wolf head that you can put on him. I know it seems kind of silly, but God knows that there's a lot of silly stuff with a lot of these figures.
Yeah, there's stuff that's a lot less
let's
silly.
Not kid ourselves.
Yeah. Man, there's a dude dressed like a snake back there in snake armor. So,
right.
You know
what I mean? Like it's
wearing a pelt's not too far out of the realm.
Right. So. And but I just love the fact he comes with the snowboard. He's got the snowshoes, so it's not like he just has skis and it's just your typical kind of thing. He has obviously the rocket launcher. You get 4 rockets. You put them on the backpack, right? Like I said, the snowshoes. You get a set of goggles, and then obviously you get the assault rifle too. I mean, it looks like a grenade launcher on the bottom.
Yeah,
of it.
It's kind of that's the version of the M203 we've got so far. It's the gun that Leatherneck come with.
Yeah,
and
Python
Copperhead.
Right.
That was one of my knocks against this figure was they should have given him that gun. They should have tooled that gun by now.
Sure.
I hate that gun for most of the figures that it comes with.
Right.
It's a Valkyrie gun. It looks good with the Valkyries, but they're smaller figures.
Right.
He is a massive hunk of figure. I mean, you can knock somebody out with this figure.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think he's a fantastic figure. I just kind of hearken more for the classic look for him with the blue.
Yeah.
And he needed the AK-47.
I would have liked to have seen the AK.
I mean, they're out there. They're in the line. You can give him an AK.
Right. So. I mean, things like that for me aren't quite as crucial because knowing you're gonna have somebody that has a weapon, and chances are a lot of these guys aren't gonna have the weapon that you think of them from back in the day.
Yeah, one in particular I'm thinking of.
So I mean, you literally you mix and match at your desire, right? I mean, really, to me, that's kind of the thing. I mean, I know obviously you want to keep all your accessories together, and I know you do that especially. But for some people, they may give him totally different stuff.
Oh,
they may give somebody else the rocket launcher and whatever. But I do like this figure. Again, nothing crazy fancy. I know the colors are quite muted. But I think for a snow trooper, a guy, out in the snow, you don't need crazy colors, especially if you're trying to blend in or you're trying to do any kind of camouflaging with the snow and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, man. I just really dig this figure. I did since they announced him.
He was one of your favorite Cobra troopers back in the day, right?
Yeah,
man. You like him and like Ill were like your top two.
Yeah,
right?
I loved using both of those guys, and so maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it, right?
Well, I mean, they're kicking us in the nostalgia balls with these figures. 100%. So, he's a great figure. I just, I prefer the little more classic look of him myself. He's a fantastic figure.
Well, that is my number 6, Snow Serpent. What about you? What's your number 6?
Well, you've already talked about my number 6. My number 6 was Snow Job.
There you go.
So that is, and they look good beside each other on the shelf.
Sure.
I mean, that's going to be their arch nemesis, right? And,
right.
Usually when I set up my Snow Serpent, I give him a couple of Arctic Bats beside him, and Snow
totally
Job
right.
trying to sneak by them all. So yeah, he's a good figure, good pick.
Yeah, and same for yours. All right, so yeah, number 6, Snow Serpent.
And now, Pop Blenders. Number 5.
All right. Number 5. You may be surprised where this guy is on my list. You're not surprised that he's on my list.
It's Falcon, isn't it?
Man, you got me every time, dude. I love that face, those kissable lips, those bedroom eyes.
Those wax lips.
I just always love a Robin Williams impersonator in drag.
Especially one with Don Johnson's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Son.
Anyway, my number 5 is the eel.
Okay. Not really, because that was your boy.
That was my boy.
So and it's a fabulous figure. So
yes,
he's up kind of high for the competition that he's up against.
I'm with you. This is my list. Yeah. This is everybody's got their own kind of thing and what they look for. This guy was hard to get for an army builder. Still hard to get. Kind of ridiculous. People, and then you see these ridiculous posts of people wanting to trade like Falcon, one Falcon and one Blue Ninja for an eel.
Right.
It's like what?
We got 3 Power of the Force orange cord.
Oh no.
Lukes. They're vintage.
Yeah, I mean, just outrageous stuff. But anyway, so yeah, man, that's my number 5. Cobra Eel. Right. Let's take a look at him. All right, number 5, Cobra Eel. Like I was just saying off camera, there's not a lot to say about this guy. I've always loved this figure.
Yeah.
This was my dude back in the day. I loved playing with this guy. I love the deep red, almost like crimson color with the gray and black accents and everything. I think they did a fantastic job. I think, as you and I also talked off camera, the pictures that they sent out with the messed up knee really had me worried.
Yeah, because as we were fighting the horrible QC with the cover girl and the Falcon and all of that when we had just gotten those figures.
Absolutely.
When this figure, or we were starting to get those figures when this figure, was showing up, and everybody was like, they put a picture of him up with the busted knee.
Yeah, horrible picture. Horrible picture. And for nobody to have proofread or checked that out before they posted it and then left it.
Yeah.
Another one.
Left it in.
They left it. And so at that point, everybody is thinking, like, is this what I'm going to get? It's sold out. Everybody want this figure, even though it's an army builder and they not available.
Yeah.
But that picture at the time, I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
And we got lucky when we got this figure, and of course, hindsight, but don't know how lucky we are that we were able to get it, because we were right there when the pre-order went live.
Yes.
And they were gone, and they've been back like twice since then. The incredibly dumb decision making this an army builder figure.
Yeah, totally. And I know we're gonna get a classic one, right? We're gonna get a retro carded. But he's high on my list, probably sentimental value, I guess. But I still just really love the look of this figure, man. Accessory wise, pretty minimal. Like Torpedo, but I do like it. He's got the little jets, like you were saying. The little Jetsons, and if you had some cool blast effects, that would be awesome. But just the mask, everything about it, I just really love the figure. Obviously the spear gun, and the logo on the back of his tank. With
the eel with the serpent around the anchor. And it's a really nice
Cool. A
figure.
little high probably for most people on their figure list, but for me, I put him a little higher and even over a Range Viper and anybody else like that.
Well, this was a figure you liked back in the
Yes.
day, and you had, and
Yep.
got a lot of play time too.
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad on this figure. Like they took everything that we liked about the original figure and they made it better.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they just improved on the original figure in every way that you could. There's nothing not to like on this figure if you get a good example of the figure. I like how they kind of tone the head down where it doesn't have all the angles on it.
Right.
It's got the light on it that actually looks like it could be a light. They hit a home run with this figure.
Yep, and you can swap his flippers with Torpedo, if you want to.
Have the red.
They both have the red. He has the red. Torpedo has the black.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it for me as far as my number 5. What about yours?
Oh, you've already talked about my number 5 too. My number 5 was Range Viper.
Okay.
So,
I thought he might be a little higher on your list, actually.
No, again, there are figures on mine that are more sentimental to me than Range Viper was. The fact that Range Viper hit number 5 on my list ought to be a feat, considering I did not have much attachment to the original one.
Yeah.
He's just that much of a good figure,
Yeah.
and another example of taking a figure I didn't really like that much as a kid and making it a top 5 out of top 10. So that's
and that takes a lot too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about like I just mentioned with the sentimental value of a figure, to take somebody that you really didn't care or play with or didn't like at all much, to then turn that into somebody that you do really like for this line. I mean, that speaks a lot about the sculpt and the color and everything, what they've done for a figure like that.
Yeah. So that was my 5.
Okay. Well, like I said, number 5 for me is the Cobra Eel.
All right. Pop Blenders. Number 4.
All right. I can't help it.
It's so
number 4. This guy's got to be on a lot of lists up higher, I would guess. Talk about taking an old figure and turning him into something badass.
No, I think I know who this might
Rock
be.
and roll!
Yeah.
Rock and roll, baby. That's
all night long.
That's my number 4, man. You want to talk about a fresh repaint?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
It was a fantastic figure.
No
for
kidding.
Sure.
And there's some detail on there that I really like.
Yeah, it's some of the best. Especially facial sculpting, some of the best we've seen yet on Rock and Roll.
Yep.
So
we're going to take a look at him. Let's do it now. All right. My number 4 is Rock and Roll. What do you say, man? Like I just said it a moment ago.
You said it all.
Man. I mean, this dude, from the tattoo work on the arms and the hand, to just the updated look instead of just all like green or basic kind of figure, right?
Yeah.
That early Joe. I love the two-tone shirt. The brown looks great. It's a good shade. Obviously the double bandoliers, and then they give you accessory-wise, obviously something to run out of the ammo box for the gun. The helmet I think is super cool for him, and then he comes obviously with the walkie-talkie. Canteen mounted on the back, sidearm. I mean, obviously that's nothing, crazy for a lot of these figures, but you get the bipod for the machine gun, and then the face sculpt on this guy and the hair. Like when you look at the detail of the hair and the beard, like that's
I mean, it's perfect. Like there's not, he's in the top 5 for sure for face sculpts of this line. I mean, he's to me he's higher than a 5, but for anybody he should be in your top 5 face sculpts.
Intense too. He's got an intense look, right?
Yeah.
Like he's pissed.
And
with the devil horns. Yeah.
You know, and it could be like, that could be he's having a good time, or that could be he's throwing up those devil horns because he's about to send you to meet him.
Exactly.
People griped about the tattoos.
Oh, come on.
This figure, this character in 2023 would be tatted up. He'd have sleeves. He's probably got a full back piece with a, Grim Reaper on a surfboard or something on it. I get people that might not have liked this figure because it's not exactly V1, and there's a lot of people whose favorite rock and roll is V2.
Yeah,
with
that's
the ball
true.
cap.
Yeah,
And
I'm not really.
I liked it.
That's not my rock and roll from that time.
To me, this figure is a perfect marriage of V1 and V2, and it takes an original character, an original 13 character, and brings them up to modern times without changing too much. But there's stuff there for people that like the V2 to love. I don't know how anybody could not like this figure.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I can understand where it'd be much higher on other people's lists. No doubt about it. It's just, you set this guy up with some other figures, right, and other ones that have different colors or accessories or whatever it is. He still stands out, even though he's got basic colors. Yeah. Right? Just, couple shades in the brown. I mean, but he stands out, and it definitely helps with the face sculpt and the head. Yeah. But I think the tattoos are an awesome touch, actually, myself, and it does make sense that he would probably have that. Yeah. His code name's Rock and Roll. That's all you got to say. Yeah.
He plays bass, and what the amount of people that don't know the next part to me is shocking. But during the era, like this was an original figure just coming out of Vietnam. Rock and roll is the military slang for having your weapon on full auto. So it's kind of a double entendre for the figure, and it's so fitting because he plays rock and roll, and he is going to lay down some rock and roll on your ass. So yeah, I love it. He's a great figure,
and he's got a big ass gun.
Yeah, he got that M60.
Yeah, it's awesome. He is, to me, even with the updated look, but to me, he is like your classic 80s guy in a Platoon movie or Full Metal Jacket or even Predator, whatever, right? You name it. He's going to be in there. Rambo, whatever. Yeah. He's holding that machine gun and just going to town, right? Yeah. With the bullets around his wrist or his forearm.
Rambo at the end of Rambo, where he walks into the command center.
That's right.
With that gun. You can recreate that with this figure. Yeah. I have. I've done pictures of it. So to me, this figure, him and Grunt, out of all the versions of other figures we've seen, scream G.I. Joe, classic G.I. Joe, more than any other figures they've done. Even though this is an updated take on the character, those two figures to me are take them out of 82, 83 and drop them in 23, and they are G.I. Joe. This, along with possibly the retro card Snake Eyes, they're the best interpretations of, in my opinion, of those figures brought up to date.
Yeah, that's about all you can say about that. That's pretty spot on. So yeah, my number 4 is Rock and Roll. What about you?
My number 4 is probably going to surprise you.
Okay.
My number 4 is Scrap Iron.
Really?
With the drone.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, my favorite Cobra, aside from Cobra Commander,
that's your dude.
Did not make my number 1 spot.
Right.
But that was the figure that you sent me way back when, and in March, and it's like, look, they're making Scrap Iron.
Yeah, dude.
And I said, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna start collecting them. Classified, and he is only number 4 on my list.
That is a surprise. Definitely a surprise. And I can't wait to watch your video, which will come out before this.
Yeah, I think we said that.
Yeah.
He has no idea what my top 10
No,
are.
I have
so,
no idea.
I don't know what he picked. So if that's not obvious by now.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see your video and what you talk about on there much more in depth, obviously, than what we're doing here, which is great. So yeah, that's a surprise. Yeah. I'm definitely surprised.
I thought it might be.
But anyway, number 4 for me is rock and roll.
All right. Well, let's see what number 3 is. Pop blenders, number 3.
Number 3. Well, I had a little surprise on that last one. Still getting over that. My number 3 is one of your favorite guys, and I love this figure too. There's a lot to talk about, and we'll try to focus it, down when I put him up on the plate. My number 3 is Scrap Iron.
Okay.
That's my number 3, Scrap Iron.
You put him higher than I did.
I did put him higher than you. Yeah. And I'll, talk about a couple of those things. And it's probably the same things most everybody would talk about. So, with that being said, let's get him up there and let's take a look.
Let's do it.
All right. My number 3 is Scrap Iron. As I get into this top 3, I almost feel like I could rearrange them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really do. I kind of really had to think about it and where I wanted him. But I think my other 2 for me just kind of jump up there. But man, this is an awesome figure that comes with some awesome stuff. Not only do we get blast effects, right? Not only do we get the drum, we get the rockets, but we get one of the best head sculpts in the entire line.
Yeah,
right?
Without a doubt.
I mean, and that's what I mentioned earlier, something that everybody probably talks about. It's pretty common to talk about the head sculpt. But this guy is freaking awesome, dude. And just a great recreation without changing much.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't change much. I mean, if you look at that figure with the original figure, it's almost the same figure to a T. They updated a couple of things, but he was already kind of like, you couldn't have updated his look too much and still kept who he was. Like, for what he does and what his specialties are, he was already perfect back in '84. So they just modernized his gear just a little bit. But I mean, the drone though, the drone makes it. He had on the stand. The original one was a stand, and it had the detonator with the wire. Right. So this one, of course, is all controlled by the little tablet there. Yep. It really looks like my drone controller for my drones. It's what it looks like.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what it's patterned after, right? I'm sure, I could imagine, and you don't necessarily, but you've got a camera on the front of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like you'd be able to take this thing out. You don't have to be right beside it, obviously, and you can control it, go all over the place because of the treads. But I mean, just everything about it. The fact that, they gave us like different blast effects.
Yeah, we hadn't seen anything like this in the line yet.
Right.
And we haven't yet. We didn't get them with the hiss.
Nope.
The Dragonfly is going to come with some similar effects.
Yeah.
But, you got to think somewhere between now and the Dragonfly, we'll get some with something.
Yep.
Probably with the SMS, the missile.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You would think.
Absolutely.
But for just unveiling this figure and seeing it the first time and seeing those blast effects and the job they did on his face.
Yeah, the 2 scars on the right side and then the left side, with the whole, where it's been burnt, obviously.
Well, it actually looks like in his Scrap Iron is anything that's not perfection abhors Scrap Iron, so he's a consummate perfectionist. And the way they did his head sculpt looks like he is screwed up twice.
Right.
He got burned on the left, and then he's got the scarring on the right over the right eye. So, you know, the dude's dedicated to his work so much it's almost killed him
I
at
know.
least twice.
And really, too, it looks like he's blind in his left eye.
Yeah, it's
if you look at the sculpt, it looks like he's blind in his left eye. Because he's also got a scar like this.
Yeah.
So even, you know, more crazy. But the vest looks great too on him, right? Like the vest looks great with the grenades hanging. You know, obviously not removable, but yeah, dude. Just I mean, the top to bottom, man. You can't say nothing about him other than he's badass. His helmet, got the classic helmet. The goggles on there, and then the Mars logo on the side.
Yeah. Yeah, because he develops. He's not an Iron Grenadier, but he does develop weapons independently under contract with Destro and Mars. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's this is my favorite Cobra aside from Cobra Commander. I'm very happy with the job they did on this figure. I was very glad to see it.
Yeah, man.
I only really had 2 gripes with this figure, and they're not really major ones. On his head, I would have liked to seen a little more shadowing, maybe darken his lips a little bit. He is second only to Major Blood, and if you look at Bloods, he's got a little more definition.
Okay.
I think they could have done a slightly better job with the paint on the rest of his face. Other than that, then the only other thing is, of course, we all wish that the treads moved on the drone.
Yeah.
But it would have jacked the price up another $5 probably, which I would have happily paid. But
sure. And I think most people probably would.
It's not that big of a gripe. You can still, you know, they move independently. You can still have it going over obstacles.
Right.
You know, unless you're doing video. You know, you do pictures. You don't do video.
Yeah.
So you can make this thing look like it's in motion. It's not hard to do. I've done it. So those are really kind of small gripes. He's a fantastic set, and he's on clearance everywhere right now.
That's crazy.
So I actually have 3 of this set, and I didn't get mine on clearance. So if you don't have him, and you
get a chance to get him,
yeah, you get a chance picking him up.
You better get him and add him to your collection for sure.
Badass figure.
Yep. So yeah, that's my number 3 is Scrap Iron. What did you choose?
Well, we just talked about my number 3. My number 3 was Rock and Roll.
Nice. I had a feeling that might be the case.
As a figure, overall, much as I like Scrap Iron, looking at everything, total, playability, independent accessories for the figure itself. And then, of course, Rock and Roll also has the amazing head sculpt.
Yeah.
He just slightly notches out Scrap Iron for me as far as everything cumulatively.
Right.
Scrap Iron is still more of a favorite character for me than Rock and Roll. But figure-wise, Rock and Roll slightly edges him out for me.
I get it. I mean, it is what it is. You know?
It is what it
is.
There
you go. Hey. Yeah. Hang on a second. Yeah. Okay. What? So yeah, number 3, Scrap Iron. That's my pick. Let's figure out what's next.
Let's do it. All right. We're really down to the nitty-gritty dirt band now.
Yes.
So we're all the way down to number 2. So here is Pop Blenders. Number 2.
All right, number 2. I just told you off camera. It's more like 1A and 1B. I could flip flop these 2. But my first instinct, what came to me first, is what I'm gonna roll with. But I really do feel like I can't go wrong with either one of these. So my number 2 is Mutton Junkyard.
Yep.
Number 2 is Mutton Junkyard. I know for some people maybe they don't have them in hand. We discussed that. How do you determine? I can go on Amazon and get him right now.
Yep.
And so
they come back available today
Yeah.
I think he had been. Of course, they shipped him, and then they didn't have any more, and it was you could find him, but it didn't give you the chance to order him. Today, he come back in where you could order him today, and I don't remember if it was tomorrow or Tuesday, but he could be ordered and on his way to your house in 2023.
Right.
So
I mean, that fits the time frame.
Yeah.
If you ordered him through Hasbro, you haven't gotten a notification yet, and you probably won't.
Still says April on Hasbro.
April, right now, because of them coming in on Amazon, maybe they'll bump that up, and all of a sudden people start getting a thing that says, "Hey, get ready for your collection to get a new edition." So, but yeah, so that's my number 2 is Mutton Junkyard. So let's take a look at them bad boys.
Let's get them out.
All right. My number 2 G.I. Joe classified figure for 2023 is Mutton Junkyard. Deluxe, baby. And this comes with he comes with a lot of stuff, a lot of different hands. You get the extra head, obviously, the good boy head for
the good boy face is worth price of admission.
Right. Like, I mean, just there's one gripe I have with this figure, and I know watched the stream the other night. Somebody had a different gripe, but I'll get to that in just a second. So obviously, right off the bat, thank God we got the classic looking Mutton Junkyard.
Not Marauders.
Not Marauders. And I know there's people that love that. It's good. But when I think of these guys, this is what I think of right here.
Same here.
100%.
And I like Marauders Mutt. Marauders Mutt.
Yeah.
It was the only Marauders figure I had, but that does not come to mind when somebody says Mutton Junkyard.
No, man.
The green and the brown, dude.
You think about the cartoon, right? Yeah. Just think. I mean, just the figure you had when you were younger. I mean, they stayed pretty true.
Yeah.
To that original design.
Yeah, he's almost a direct
like a
copy,
one kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. They give him the M16. I would have loved for them to give him the Mac 10, Mac 11. Yeah. So that the Mac 11 would have really set it off, completed it, rather than this.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the M16's a great gun,
it's got
the paint app.
Yep.
But when I hear Mutt, that Mac 11 is as synonymous with Mutt for me as Junkyard is.
Right. I mean, it just is. It's just one of those things. To me, it's like a guy who actually isn't on my list is Shockwave. Yeah. Who the gun? You remember, like his gun that he had? Yeah, that gun should have come with him, right?
Yeah, he should have. And they gave Shockwave the 2 dual little small micro SMGs,
right?
And that would work better for him as a figure than giving him something like an M16.
Yeah.
But I'm like you. I would have rather seen a more classic.
Everybody,
of that gun.
That gun was super cool.
That vented suppressor on it.
Yeah, right. So when I think of him, I do think of the other gun. But nonetheless, knife in the front. You got the side piece, and it has paint app on it too. It's green on top, and then you get multiple hands. You get the nightstick. You get the goggles. You get the helmet with the goggles on top there, and then you get the muzzle, which you have to have because that was one of those pieces. And for collectors of the 3 3/4, good luck finding the muzzle if you're trying to complete a collection like that, right?
Yeah, I have. I've got that Mutt. I have Mutt. I have the Mac 11, and I have Junkyard and the leash. Of course, this one doesn't have the leash.
Yeah.
The original Junkyard did. And I've got the leash attached to Junkyard, which I'm sure I did so I wouldn't lose it.
Right.
And that's it. I don't have his. He had the Billy Club.
Yeah.
And he had the muzzle, and I don't have the muzzle.
And it's funny because back then, that muzzle has the big tab or the big knob on it, right? That you had to push through the hole, and it's just super oversized.
Yeah, it looked way too big.
So. But a cool accessory. we obviously get one here, and it has paint on
Yeah,
it
it's
too,
good
which is
paint
super
apps.
cool. I like the face sculpt on him. He's growling like a dog. He's
Yeah,
got the same growl on his face, right, as Junkyard has on this face right here. The arm hair is cool for me. I'm good with that. I mean, it's like a one for one
yeah,
almost.
it
I mean, it's
is. I
just
mean,
great. And then
even
Junkyard, great. It's always nice to have the animals, right? We got
yeah,
a million timbers
yeah,
right now, or we got enough anyway.
yeah.
Whatever. It's like, but to have these guys, man, it just yeah, it's awesome, and I was glad that they finally come out, and for people that went ahead and ordered them or canceled their Hasbro order
Yeah,
when they could get him now.
yeah, and
You know.
I mean, I actually got him. I ordered mine from CMD store because
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to get him early. I wanted to do a review on him before a lot of people had him, of course.
Yeah.
But this was not a figure that like to me he was worth the extra money.
Yeah.
Whether or not Amazon started shipping them soon or not, I had a feeling I might do that whenever whoever you can get them from early had
Right.
them. I had a feeling I may go ahead and do that because this, since I had Scrap Iron, this was my most anticipated
Right.
character. Period. Out of all of GI Joe,
Yeah.
everything from the Real American Hero line that had not been released or announced yet, this was my most anticipated set. So of course I got them as soon as I could.
Yeah,
And,
man.
it was worth every penny. Mutt in Junkyard is a fantastic set.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's my number two, Mutton Junkyard. What about you?
You're looking at them.
Nice.
Mutt and Junkyard are also my number two.
Awesome.
And it's kind of like you said, my number one and number two are damn near interchangeable. Um, they're really the only reason Mutt and Junkyard, much as I love them, did not definitively make my number one spot was because they did not give Mutt his Mac 11, and Junkyard has a slightly loose bend on his front left leg. We've got to take a loose joint here or there with these figures as they come. They're all just about gonna have something.
Yeah.
Not all, but some of them, most of them rather have. They've got one little. They got a loose butterfly joint. A loose ankle. Most of them have that one joint that just is not exactly perfect. And with Junkyard having one, because the paws have 1, 2, 3 points of articulation on them. So I can't gripe too much. You can still do poses and stuff with him, but you do have to watch for that one bending in, or at least I do. And they're minor gripes, but they're also gripes that kept them from being a perfect 5.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, I mean, but either way, you got to have them. They're 100%.
And sometimes that's another thing that's been brought up too, and I'll just say it real quickly, is that sometimes like more points of articulation is not always the best thing because you have more opportunity for failure.
Yeah.
And but great figure, love them, both of them,
if you don't have them ordered, you need to go ahead and order them.
Look them up.
You need them in the collection.
Yeah. So that's my number two, Mutton Junkyard, and we'll get to number one in just a second.
All right, now we're going to go over Pop Blender's honorable mentions and his biggest disappointment for 2023.
Yeah, man. Honorable mentions. I just mentioned to you a second ago off camera too. A lot of the most recent line that came out, I definitely like Grunt, Hawk, love Hawk. General Hawk. I think it's a great one. There are some things with it, but I love the look. It's a pretty good representation. It looks great. Tripwire, I do really like that figure as well. Comes with a lot of stuff. I do like the ability to be able to put him in the heavy gear or not.
Yeah, you can make like 3 different versions.
Pretty much,
Tripwire,
right?
So.
I mean, super cool. I do love Copperhead. That's another one that is one of my favorites. Just the colors, again, a really true recreation, right? I mean, it's very similar on a one-to-one kind of basis. You know, I mean, other than that, I mean, I could, go down a rabbit hole, right? It's like there's really not.
Yeah, there's a lot of honorable mentions
that I don't. There's really not much that I dislike. There's a couple here and there, yeah. And there's a couple that I brought up from like maybe just either QC or whatever earlier this year, but as far as honorable mentions, those are kind of my main ones. Without turning around and looking at your shelf and rattling off 10 more names.
Right, yeah, because it's pretty easy to do.
It's easy to do.
So, because I did honorable mentions in my video, and there's 5.
Right.
And I could have done 10.
Right, exactly. So. And that's kind of the same for me. I could sit here and rattle off one after the other. But as far as disappointments, Jody Shooter is one of my disappointments. I just think that figure just doesn't. I just don't think it fits personally.
Right.
I think the shoes are super goofy.
Yeah.
I think the gun is ridiculous, like for her. And I'm just not. There's nothing about that figure that I'm like, man, I really like this.
Yeah, I'm the same way with her. I mean, there's people that she was honorable mention, or I've seen. I think somebody's video I watched had her at like number 9 or something. Like, did you not get the rest of the figures this year?
And to each their own.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I get it. If that figure speaks to you,
the shoes for me,
man, it's outrageous.
I have ever since I've got the figure, I have and will always compare those shoes to the damn Nikes from Back to the Future 2 with the self-drying, self-adjusting. That's what they look like to me. I'll die on that hill. I'm sorry if Shooter's your favorite character, but he's got a good disappointment. She looks good. Her head sculpt and looks good, but
that's fine.
You've got to me when you get any figure and you have to completely re-equip it with secondary company loadouts, like you got to give her a good sniper rifle. Right? She's this crazy awesome sniper. She comes with a sniper rifle that's as tall as she is. Yeah. It's ugly. Why not give her Snow Job sniper rifle?
Yeah,
that's the best sniper rifle in the line.
Yeah, there's other ways to make that figure.
But when you've got to take a figure and completely equip it with third party stuff, it's definitely a miss.
Yeah, no. So she's for me. I mean, I was. There's one disappointment I have. I will tell you 2. I know I hate to backtrack. I like Big Ben figure as an honorable mention. Even though past that, and let me sit here looking. I didn't want to do this. It's oh well, it doesn't matter anyway. But another disappointment, and I really want to like this figure. But one thing about this figure turns it into a disappointment. And it's Buzzer.
Oh my God! Don't get me started on Buzzer, man.
I want to love this figure.
Yeah,
but the glasses really take the cake for me.
Yeah,
like it completely changed. You can't have him without the glasses. Yeah, he doesn't even look. You don't even know who he is.
He's got to have.
He has to,
and he looks good.
He looks
without
good.
him, but he doesn't look like Buzzer.
It's not him.
Yeah.
So that's one that's disappointing, but in that kind of way.
Yeah.
But
well, Buzzer's my favorite Dreadnought.
I know.
So to not have him show up on my list is very disheartening.
Yes.
But honestly, it's a shitty figure.
Yeah. So that was another disappointment for me.
Yeah.
Rack my brain, come up with a couple more, but I think that's pretty much it for me. So yeah, I guess we can move on to number 1 here.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
Pop blenders.
Number
one.
All right. Number one. Ever since I saw this figure, this mofo is just badass. Awesome. Love it. Great sculpt. Color pops. Everything about it. And it is Dreadnought Ripper. That's my number one.
Yeah, good choice. You don't even have to ask me at the end. Because Dreadnought Ripper is also my number one.
What a great figure, man. Let's pop him up here and take a look.
Yeah, let's get him out.
All right. So my number one 2023 classified figure is Dreadnought Ripper. And this figure, like I said, as soon as I saw him, the tank top, the jeans, the boots, not a ton of accessories. I don't care.
He doesn't need them. He's got everything he needs.
Everything. You got the Jaws of Life. Obviously, classic, like the original one. He can take it, use it as a can opener.
Yep. Opening tanks.
Opening tanks.
At least till Storm Shadow gets there to karate chop him.
Yeah,
apart.
that's right.
So,
but you know, the straps, man, look good. He's obviously got the knife, you know, in the sheath there, and then his pistol, which also has the serrated knife on it, right?
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it's kind of silly.
It is kind of silly, but I could totally see the Dreadnoughts creating their own ridiculous guns.
He would carry a pistol like that. That's why I see people hating on that pistol, but it fits the character. You don't have to use it, but even if you get him out and you do some pictures with it, I did one of my Christmas pictures with him where he's holding it just because I wanted to have it out. They were in the middle of destroying a Christmas tree.
Right.
So, of course, he's going to take out his little pistol and stab at stuff with it. It's in tune with what the character is.
Yeah, man. I mean, just the face, the head sculpt, man, the hair with the mohawk, the beard looks great, tattoos. Obviously, if you have this guy or you don't, you've probably heard about the contact lens in the eye. What is his right eye? Smiley face. I didn't take his glasses off, so you know, it's.
I think it is. I think it is.
I thought it was.
I always keep his glasses on.
Either way, and that's the thing. I love him with the glasses on, but the glasses stay on.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, a disappointment with Buzzer is the glasses don't stay on. They aren't made properly for them to stay on, and that's something that can completely ruin a figure for you if you think of those things, right?
Yeah, I mean, with Buzzer, they could have. They needed to do two things. They needed to widen the bridge of his glasses, or just go ahead and make them goggles.
Yep.
Because they're not necessarily the mirrored glasses. You can also look at those as being like welding goggles.
Yep.
So
that's right.
I would have rather them went with that rather than have glasses that don't stay on him. But Ripper don't have that problem. You've just about got to turn this figure upside down and give him a little shake to get his glasses to come off. There's nothing not to like about this figure.
Yeah, man.
Unless you just hate the Dreadnoughts.
Yep.
This is, my opinion, this is the best figure that has come out this year. Because for me, he perfectly nails everything this figure needs to do.
Yeah.
The accessories, the look.
Yep.
There's not any, I wish they'd have done this, or I wish they'd have done
or why
that.
Did they give him that gun, or what's this accessory, or this doesn't make any sense.
If they'd have given him that little dinky pistol that everybody hates that comes with everybody, it would have been like, well, he'd have been awesome if not for that pistol.
Yep.
Well, I'd have rather them not give him that pistol and make this silly pistol that fits the character.
Yep, absolutely.
But this figure,
awesome.
It's the only figure I've given a perfect score to, and it's not my favorite character that's come out this year, obviously, but looking at the best figure, Ripper 100%.
Yep. Yeah, he's the jam, man. Well, that's funny. We ended up on the same one.
Yeah, we did not confer at all.
No, that was a surprise. I did not, and didn't necessarily have any suspicions either. But
we did play with these guys as kids together just about every weekend.
Yep,
so
that's right.
We're gonna have some of the same likes on them. So
well, that's my 2023 best of. I can't wait to see your video.
You don't have to now. You've already, you know who they all are.
Yeah, but I'm still going to watch the video. Yeah, absolutely. I'll throw a like on there too.
Yeah, man, that would be great.
Heck yeah, and I'll comment for the engagement.
Man, sweet.
Anyway, so I appreciate you having me over, man. That's gonna do it pretty much, and I'm Pop Blender, and so I'll let you take it out, man.
Yep, that is it. That is Pop Blender versus Down South for the 2023 Top 10 review. Wasn't much of a match. We had a lot of the same stuff on there, but I appreciate you guys sticking through to the end. I know it's been long, but I hope it's been fun. So I would appreciate it if you hit that like, hit that subscribe, send a link to your friends. Would certainly help me out, and I would certainly appreciate it. And we will see you guys next time on 3-Star Draw.